Entity relationships diagram. Relationship, degree, and cardinality. In this lesson, the terms unary, binary, ternary, degree, cardinality, and optionality with regards to relationship types will be described. In Lessons 1.1, you have learned about what is relationships. Do you still remember? Relationships illustrate how two entities share information in the database structure. It's already labeled with word phrases. Relationship is represented by a diamond in ER diagram. A relationship type can be classified by the number of entity types involved and by the degree of the relationship type. These methods of classifying relationship type are complementary. To describe a relationship type adequately, you need to say what the name of the relationship type and its inverses are and their meaning. If not clear from their names, and you also need to declare the entity type or types involved and the degree of the relationship type that links to the entities. The purpose of discussing the number of entity types is to introduce the terms unary relationship type, binary relationship type, and ternary relationship type, and to give examples of each. The number of entity types. Unary relationship is a relationship between two instances of one entity type. This relationship is based on one entity. It's also called recursive relationships. We will then take marriage and employment as an example to illustrate what is unary relationship. Take marriage as an example. In the case of marriage, people are the entity, which so in the rectangle, and people have marital relationship in one-to-one. Therefore, the relationship should be labeled by married or married. In the case of employment, employee should be the entity. Many staff report to one particular manager, and one particular manager manages many staff. Therefore, there is the recursive relationship. Employment, the entity, sorted in rectangle, and the relationship between the employee should be managed or managed by. Binary relationship is a relationship between the instance of two entity types. This relationship based on two entities. We will then take the cases in company. In a company, there are many employees which responsible to in charge for different projects. Therefore, there should be two entities, employee and project. The relationship between these two entities should be handled or was handled by. Ternary relationship is a simultaneous relationship amongst the instance of three entity types. It is not the same as three binary relationships. Take a logistic company as an example. The logistic company have to get different components from different suppliers and transport different components to different wholesalers. Therefore, there should be three different entities, including supplier, components, and wholesaler. And the relationship between these three entities should be transport. Then we will talk about cardinality and optionality. Cardinality is the maximum degree of the relationship, and optionality is the minimum degree of the relationship between the entities. Do you still remember we have talked about the case of binary relationship? In this case, some employees may handle many projects. Do you still remember we have talked about the case of binary relationship, some employees may handle many projects. Therefore, we use this notation to draw the ER diagram. And some projects may be handled by many employees. So in the ER diagram, we will use this notation. Some employees may not have any projects to handle. Therefore, we use this notation. Each project must be handled by at least one employee. Therefore, we use this notation. This notation means that each project was handled by 0 or more employees. And this notation means that each employee handled one or more projects. There are the 4 different cases for you to draw the ER diagram. That's the end of the lesson.